Hi everyone, it's Essie here with a process video for UK Scrap Addicts using our theme this month of paper folding. Now I have to admit I haven't done any paper folding really before, so this was a bit of a new technique to me as well. So I chose quite a simple design and I'm using the Cocoa Vanilla Studio More Than Words collection to create some folded paper tulips. It was just I found a video on YouTube to kind of show me how to do it, and just have adapted it a little bit to suit myself. So you can just see there how I'm folding a square of paper up into a triangle and then folding edges in, and I've just used my corner rounder to round off the points a little. I've made 6 flowers all in all, using 3 different types of patterned paper, and I'm now using just some green craft paper to make some stalks. So this is I think it's Dove craft paper in 12 by 12 sheets, and it's a paper quality. It's not cardstock like the scrapbooking paper is, scrapbooking cardstock. So it's much thinner, so it will roll, and I've just cut it into strips, started at the bottom corner and rolled diagonally until I've got myself a tube straw to make the stalk. And I've also cut some leaf shapes even from the same paper, which I'm now using distress inks to add some colour to. I think there is peeled paint and the one that's olive, I can't remember the name of it now, crushed olive, that's the one. So I'm just using those colours and my blending tool to add some colour to the stalks and the leaf shapes. Now I just want to add a little bit of colour to my background. I've just got some plain white cardstock here, and I'm using the Distress crayons to add a really soft colour to the background. I do add some more colour, you'll see it building up gradually as I work. I've got these duster brushes which are a really soft way of adding some colour. I was worried that if I use my blending tool I might add too much colour and then end up with it too heavy. I've got tattered rose, scattered straw and peacock feathers distress crayons there, and I've just added a little water to apply a little bit of the colour wet onto the paper, and you can see there that it's adding a bit of a stronger colour in places. So rather than brushing that on, I'm just kind of dabbing sort of as you would with a stencil brush, just to add little details of the stronger colour into that background. You don't see much of the background in the finished layout because there's a lot covering it up, but I just felt that it needed something before I added my photograph on my flowers. And I've used 3 colours that sort of coordinate with the colours of papers that I've used. And so now I'm just using some more of those green tones in the distress inks, and I'm going to add some green along the bottom there as well. And as you can see, I've added some water straight away with those greens, just to add a stronger colour along the bottom there. So I've got my photograph, and I've cut some squares of patterned paper from a couple of those are not from the More Than Words. I think one of them was from Make-A-Wish even. They're all Cocoa Vanilla Studio though. And the collections, the colours mix and match beautifully. So I've added some background layers behind my photograph, and I'm now just adding some extra colour to my background with some splatters of Heidi Swap colour spray, ink spray. And I think I've got butter and coral, those 2 colours. Oh, and then that green one as well. Just adding that to the bottom there, mopping up. I got my my Tim Holtz even mixed media mat for Christmas, and I'm loving using it, but you can see the reflections of my lighting when I'm filming, so I'm not quite sure. I'm going to have to play around with the positioning, I think, but it's a really dull day as well, so I really need those lights. But anyway, so I've positioned my photograph, stuck that down, I've stuck my photograph on some foam to lift it slightly, and now I'm using the silicone glue gel to add my paper flowers, just positioning them. And then I'm going to glue the stalks on as well. I'm going to use the silicone glue gel for those too, just fiddling around with the positioning, trimming them down a little. And one of the reasons I love using silicone glue gel, and I think I've probably said it before in one of my other videos, is because it doesn't dry straight away. So you have the opportunity to move things around a little bit, like I'm doing here, just moving those flowers about so that I can get them positioned where I want them. Adding those stalks, I'm just flattening the end of the stalk a little bit and tucking it underneath the flower. And then just adding that third stalk there. I've got a slightly thinner one. You just see me, I was adding some more glue there because I snipped the end off, which meant that the end started coming unravelled. And then I'm obviously just going to do the same on the other side. And I just thought, I love this photograph. It's of my niece a few years ago now. It was a photo shoot in a local park with a local photographer that my niece had done. So this is my great niece, so it's my niece's daughter, and they had a family photo shoot just locally, and I just think it's a really pretty photograph and suited my paper folded flowers quite well. So just adding the final stalk to that other flower, and then I'm also going to add, so where those middle stalks come, I'm going to add a little bit so that it join, so that it's actually, there's a join to the flower, so that top flower doesn't look like it's just floating and is actually attached to a stalk. And there again, that's the beauty of the silicone glue gel. They're still not dry, so I can lift them about and tuck things in. So then I'm going to tuck the leaves in. That one's obviously far too big, so I'm just trimming that down. And I'm not actually applying any glue separately to the leaves. I'm just tucking them in under the stalks, and the silicone glue gel that's there already will just hold them in place once it all dries. Just tucking them, fiddling around with where I want them. And then I've got my title. So this is a foam phrase thicker from, again, it's a Cocoa Vanilla range. I think it was Midnight. And I'm going to create a longer title than that. I'm going to use some additional thickers to add more of a title, but I just wanted to get that one in place and then pop the extra leaves on. And then I've got some smaller puffy alphas, which are these ones are Pink Fresh Studio, I think, or are they Pink Paisley? I'll check. They're from the Just a Little Lovely collection. And I always get the Pink Paisley and the Pink Fresh Studio things muddled up. So I love these letters because they're sort of ombre effect and they're really pretty, and they're a really nice size as well to just add in some extra text. I love mixed alpha titles. So I've just got there, those aquarelle ones are Dear Lizzie. just fiddling around with the positioning of my title. When I put the letters down, I didn't put them down securely so that I was able to move them around and position them once I'd got all of the letters on the sheet. And those ombre letters are Pink Fresh Studio, so I apologise for not being completely sure there, but I've just checked. I wanted to bring some black hearts in somewhere, I thought, because the bloom is quite strong and I think it needed a little touch of black somewhere else to balance that out, but those foam hearts from the thicker sheet were too big, so I've left those for the moment and I've moved on to the ephemera pack from More Than Words, just to get a couple of little details in above the photograph. A couple of tabs there, one of which is blank, so I'm going to write I'll write her name on. A couple of little butterflies to have, just bringing a little detail into that top third of the page, but sticking with the rule of thirds, and all of the goings on is happening in those bottom 2/3 of my page. Just sticking those down. And the final touches now, I've found these much smaller hearts, they're puffy hearts, and these are from Amy Tangerine's Shine On collection from a while ago, and I bought 2 sheets actually. I bought 2 packs because they're really lovely, because they're really nice shape and they're quite small and there's lots of lovely colours, so I'll use those a lot. And then I've got some enamel dots from the More Than Words collection too, which I'm just adding some final details in around my flowers, and that's me done. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you here again soon. Bye.